It's so nice to see the children come in. I will deliver my short sermon for children. Today I want to share with you, the little ones, wherever you are sitting, that when we celebrate the holy and beautiful icons of our church, we call it Sunday of Orthodoxy. What did we learn in the chapel today? We learned that icons are windows to where? Into our computers? No, Theodore reminded us that the computer program created by Mr. Gates is called Windows, and that program has what on it? Icons. Mr. Gates was genius. Before he created the icons, computers were not popular. When he created icons, then computers became very popular. So what do the computer icons lead us to the application, right? So when we open our computer screen, we see a little icon on it, and Mr. Gates is not Orthodox, is he? He's not Orthodox, but he kind of borrowed our word, the Greek word icon, and the Orthodox concept of icon. So when you click on it, when you touch it, what happens? It takes you to somewhere else where the actual application is. So we learned that icons, our icons that Mr. Gates borrowed, are also like that. When you approach an icon on the wall and you touch it or kiss it or bow to it, what happens? It opens a window to the heaven, and you can talk to the saint that is in heaven. Can you believe this? All right, if it wasn't true, Mr. Gates would not borrow. He would not do what he did, okay? So, what was the first icon invented? We learned today. 2,000 years ago. Who invented the first icon? Who did the first icon in the world? Christ did the first icon. And what is that icon called? Icon made with no hands. How did Christ make that icon? Did he have paints? The person who created Xerox, he also borrowed that idea from Jesus. Because Jesus took a piece of cloth and he put it on his face, and then when he took it and gave it to the emissaries, they looked at it, his face was on the cloth. It had printed on the cloth, like on a copy machine, right? Jesus imprinted his face on it. And who did he send that cloth to? People in this community are from where? Most of them. America? No. Where did they come from? Asia Minor. So there was a king in Asia Minor whose name was Abgar, who had sent his emissaries, and Jesus sent that napkin to Abgar because Abgar was very sick. So when they brought the cloth, Abgar could see who Jesus was. Before the photograph was invented, Abgar could see through the napkin who Jesus looked like. And then we said, who was the first iconographer? Saint Luke. Saint Luke was a doctor and an iconographer. Whose icon did Saint Luke make? Panagia's icon. And what did we say that icon is called? The icon of Saint Vladimir. And we said it's not Vladimir Putin, it's different Vladimir, right? It's Saint Vladimir. Although that Vladimir was the king of Russia. Well, there was no Russia at that time. There was the kingdom of Kiev, which is Ukraine. So he was actually the king of Ukraine, from where all the Slavic nations came out, including Russia. Russia didn't exist. Russia is only 500 years old. Ukraine is 1,000 years old and more, because before that they were pagans. As Christians, they are 1,000 years old. Where did Saint Vladimir find that icon? Did I tell you? Yes, where? In a river, in a mud. They took it out and they restored it, and they discovered that this was the first icon ever made, and it was made by Saint Luke. First icon made by the Christians. When was that made? Theodore. Right. So the early Christians were afraid to come out and worship in person, like we were afraid last year, right? Who we were afraid? From the emperor? No, we were afraid of coronavirus. The Christians in the first century were afraid of the emperor of Roman Empire. So they were worshiping in caves, under the ground, together. And while they were worshiping, they made icons on the walls. Those are the first icons that we find on the wall of the worship space. So what does that icon look like? It's a shepherd with a lamb on his shoulders, and it also has a little dog. Have you ever seen an animal in an icon? What kind of animals have you seen? Can you find one in a church? There's one right there with a dragon in it, except this is not a good animal, this is a bad animal. But this icon, the first icon that was made, it was a skinny shepherd. It was like a little child drawing a twig person. But it's a very beautiful one. Had a lamb on his shoulders, and there's a little dog following him. If somebody asks you what the icons are, you can tell them they are drawn on our walls of our churches. What are they for? They are windows open to the heaven. The first iconographer was Luke. The first icon was made by Christ. And the first icon made by Christians was a shepherd with a little dog and a lamb on his shoulders. And that we pray to the icons because they open, like in a computer, they open our relationship beyond the icon, our relationship with the saints. One very important thing that I want you to all remember: we cannot confuse two words in our church: worship and veneration. So which one goes with the icons? Veneration. We do not worship icons. Can you repeat that? We do not worship icons. And anybody who tells you that, you tell them, no, we do not worship icons. We venerate them like we would venerate a respectful person. Like we would bow to you, we would bow also to an icon which we respect and love. God bless you.